What's up, guys? Can you guys hear me okay? Shred Before Dead, what's up, man? Bill, what's up, my man? Bill, can you hear me okay? Hey, thanks, man. All right, let's let a couple more people roll in here, then we'll get talking Evil the Following. And let's see if I can frame this a little better. Brian gave me a bunch of crap the other day when he stopped by. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Michael Glidewell, what's up, dude? Saw you on the comments in the Evil the Following video. Thanks for feeling comfortable commenting and sharing. Steve, glad you made it, dude. Yeah, we're gonna talk Evil the Following and oops, there we go. Where's everybody from? Looks like Carlos is from Calgary, Canada. Welcome, dude. This bike's pretty popular up in Canada, I think. Noza KJD says evil weighs too much. Oh, is that the takeaway from my video that I just am complaining about the weight of the evil? Let's get that situated. It is a heavy bike, but I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit. Scott from New Zealand, William from Pearl, Carlos in Wisconsin, Albuquerque, New Mexico in the house, the Huckster in Vegas. What's up, dude? Oklahoma, off-road outfitter. Awesome. We're getting a good little turnout here. Everyone hit the like button real quick if you haven't already, just to kind of, it'll bump it up in people's feeds so we can get more people in here and kind of increase the discussion. So I edited that last video myself. My friend, the guy who's going to edit these videos in the future was out of town, so it wasn't the greatest edit, but hey, it was a video, right? We didn't have to wait 3 weeks like we normally do. All right. Michael Glidewell doesn't like the look of the Evil the Following. That's funny. I thought it was a rad looking bike. I probably wouldn't buy the orange color, but the other color, the kind of grayish color, greenish gray, I thought it was sweet. Adam says his buddy thinks his following is better than his instinct. I think he's wrong. Oh, that's funny. Nate Palmer, all we need in life is MTB Yumyum videos. Thanks, my man. Yeah, Bill's right. Scott says, don't stress about the editing. It's your content we love. Hey, thank you. That's good feedback. That's good to hear. I do stress about the editing because once you put it on YouTube, it's there forever. I mean, or until I take the video down. And so I kind of want to put my best foot forward in every video. I'm going to get better at editing. We're going to have this other guy edit most of these videos too, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. Drinking ginger ale again tonight. I don't love the Canadian Dry. I don't know. It's in the fridge. I got to get rid of it so I can go buy some Schweppes. Okay, well, we got about 50 people in here. Let's get going. So, if anybody has any questions, I'm gonna try to focus on the chat tonight a little bit more and answering the questions out of the chat. There's 2 or 3 topics out of the comments from below the video yesterday that we're going to talk about. But and also I'm just going to address this. For any of you guys who read the comments below the videos, or if you comment, there's a little bit of what looks like hate speech, or not hate speech, but people are being overly critical of my videos. And some of my close followers, subscribers, kind of are defending me a little bit. Don't feel the need to do that. I mean, do whatever you want, but don't do it in my behalf. I am totally comfortable with people, as long as it's not like really belligerent comments. I'm not going to delete them. I want people to have a voice in the comments to say whatever they want. And if they feel like I like every bike, or that I say the same types of things about each bike, it is what it is. You know, these bikes are all so similar. I need to gain a bigger vocabulary maybe so I can better describe these bikes. But hopefully, and I appreciate the feedback too. Having some critical feedback, it's sometimes hard to hear. It doesn't make me feel bad, but you know, it's hard to hear that I'm not doing a good job, but it's also really good to hear. That way I can improve these videos and get them better. So Colt Hawkins says, never engage a troll. Yeah, I try not to do that. But anyway, real quick. So if you watch the entire video, toward the end, I try to do like a final thoughts wrap up thing. And I think the takeaway for me on the Evil, the following, the bike's super fun. It's really rad. It feels like a burly bike for a 120 mil travel bike. And it's not like that aggressive of a head tube angle. I think it's 74.5-degree head tube angle. And, you know, it was a great all-arounder bike. I just personally would have a hard time pulling the trigger on it to be my only bike, just because it's so heavy. It was equipped with X01 group set. It didn't have like super heavy kit on it, you know. It was like 30-pound bike before I put pedals on it. And granted, those tires that were on there were super heavy, so that's part of it. But man, the benchmark for me, right or wrong, has been my Rocky Mountain Instinct. It's 140 millimeters front and rear. It is more composed than that Evil, the following. And my bike weighs, with my pedals on there, 26 pounds, 10 ounces. 140 mil bike, 29er. And I've got good tires on there. I've got a Griffin on the rear, 2.3 Maxxis Griffin on the rear, and on the front, a DHR2 2.3. So that's the benchmark for me, I think. I mean, that bike's a lot of fun. It climbs really well, is light, super composed under the, you know, 8 to 1 foot like chatter, the high-speed chatter. You know, I wouldn't say it's that much more composed than the Evil following MB. I mean, that bike's a super composed bike for a 120 mil travel bike, but it's heavy. Let's get in the comments here. Okay, so the first comment. The first comment, kind of specific to Evil following, is Steve T. Says, Jason, at some point tonight, could you compare the agility and feel of Evil versus Ibis? Well, they have so many different bikes. Maybe follow up with another comment saying which bike specifically. Evil is basically a single pivot suspension style, right? Well, it's a fancy single pivot. There's something different going on there, obviously, but it feels pretty firm on the top and really firm at the bottom, and mid-stroke feels, you know, smooth, pretty good too. The Ibis bikes, the DW Link, which is one of my favorite bikes to ride, is super firm off the top, but it's not as firm at the bottom. All through the mid-stroke, it's still pretty firm, but it kind of doesn't have a ton of bottom-out resistance. So if you're hucking huge stuff, which I'm not hitting crazy stuff, but if you're hitting huge stuff, you need to figure something out so you're not bottoming out an Ibis all the time. But like, for example, on my Ibis HD4, I have a little bottom-out bushing, or a little, they call it a bumper. It takes up 2 millimeters of your travel. So you lose 2 millimeters of travel, but it creates a lot of bottom-out resistance, because I was bottoming out that HD4 quite a bit on some of the heavier stuff. But that bike's made to smash. So anyway, maybe follow up your question with another comment about two bikes specifically. Colton Hawkins says, Evil MB versus the Switchblade. Again, I think I'd have to go Switchblade on this one over the Evil. And it's not that I have anything against Evil. It's just I thought the Switchblade probably climbs better, and that's a big bike. That's a 130, 135 mil travel rear bike. I think it weighed 29 pounds, the one I rode. And I've ridden it a couple times now. I love the Switchblade. That bike hammers. So yeah, between the two, I'd go Switchblade. Let's see. Okay, pedaling, the Ripley or the following? Come on, is that even a question? Who asked that? MTB maybe MTB Hawaii, maybe? Come on, the Ripley is one of the best climbing bikes of all the, kind of mid-travel 29ers. It's ridiculous. But, that geometry is getting a little dated, honestly, I think. Otter Flash, thanks for the $5 super chat, my man. Donate for future videos to be edited. Any hints on what is in the hopper? Thumbs up the video for the video, everyone. He's saying thumbs up the video. Yeah, hit the like button. Otter Flash, thank you so much for the super chat. Any hints to what's in the hopper? Yeah. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll get a better look at what I'm actually doing. The videos that like this Evil following, I rode that bike over a month ago. I'm just behind. I've got probably 7 or 8 more videos I need to edit. So I'm behind schedule. So if you want to see more real time what I'm doing, follow me on Strava. My name's Jason Dahl, D-A-H-L. So follow me on Strava. You'll see every ride I'm doing every day. And then on Instagram, I do a pretty good job of updating quicker on Instagram. But what's in the hopper? I'm super excited about what's in the hopper, man. I've got, so I'm going to ride the Mach 5.5 and the Mach 6 again. I rode those down in Moab. They were just short rides, kind of like this Evil the Following. It didn't give me 2 days to kind of ride it back, a couple days in a row and really hammer it on my local trails here in Jacob's Ladder. I'm going to close these. Just so you can see me a little better. So I'm going to be riding on Thursday of this week. Well, depending on the rain, it's been raining like crazy. But if the rain stops, I'm going to be riding the Mach 5.5 again on Thursday and doing another video on Thursday and Friday. That's a bike I really liked that I wished I could have had more time on. Those trails down in Moab are good, but it doesn't give you enough variety. There's not a lot of bigger, heavier stuff. So I'm going to ride that again. And now I'm picking up a Yeti SB100. I should have that for about 2 weeks. That'll give me 2 weeks to really ride it a ton, hopefully put 100 miles on that thing and make a really good video. That's a bike I'm pretty excited about. Back to the chat comments here. Let's see, which one were we on here? I can't keep up on all these. All right. I think we were talking about the Switchblade and the Evil following. I'd go Switchblade. Okay, Shred Before Dead. That Evil bike looks great. How heavy was the actual weight of the bike? It was 30 pounds before I put pedals on there. 29 pounds, like 12 ounces. Like almost right at 30 pounds. What's the seat tube angle? I think I wanted to... Oh, yeah. Seat tube angle was like 74 degrees on that Evil following, which that's great. That's the same as like the Hightower LT, a bunch of bikes, the new Stump Jumper. Shred Before Dead says it's the Delta Link adding all the pounds. Yeah, maybe. That Delta Link's a big old contraption, man. It's a burly suspension setup, and the whole bike is just burly. For guys that just go out and hammer every time they ride on like some crazy terrain, an Evil probably fits perfect for your terrain and riding style. But for me, I want to, if I'm going to ride a 120 mil bike, I'd like it to be under 28 pounds at least, right? Ripley versus the Falling. Those are just two different bikes, honestly. The Ripley just is so efficient, climbs so well, but it's not as stable, or I hate to use the word poppy. I got lit up on my comments for using the word poppy, but yeah, it's not as poppy as the Following. Can I compare my instinct? Bike Steamboat says, can you compare your instinct in the MBI? I talked a little bit about it, but yeah, so I think we've talked maybe enough about that. I just think one thing I love about my instinct is 140 millimeter travel that still climbs really, really well. It doesn't climb as well as like the Ibis Ripley, but it climbs dang good. And super composed, 140 mil travel is good for just about anywhere here in Utah. And man, it feels really good. I like that bike. That's another thing I want to talk about. We have a couple mixed reviews here, and or not reviews, comments. Sorry, I'm reading as I'm talking here. But sometimes people ask me in the comments. In fact, just this most recent video, I got a question that says the high tower, the stump jumper, or the intense carbine. You know, I've never ridden the intense carbine, so I don't know how to best answer those questions. But anyway, yeah, if you ask me questions in the comments, maybe the best way to get a good answer would be to ask me about bikes I've ridden. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell you I don't know because I haven't ridden them. And also go back and reference some of my older videos. A lot of people ask me, hey, I'm thinking about buying a Trek Fuel EX or this Following. Which one should I get? And I'll tell them, hey, I've ridden that Fuel EX. Go watch that video, and you can kind of just pull out of the video for yourself what you thought was interesting. You know. Thoughts on the Santa Cruz Carbon Reserve rims? Are they worth it? I've never broken carbon wheel before. I'm on my second set of Light Bicycle carbon wheels from a Chinese brand called Light Bicycle, and I've never broken one. And I've ridden it with a flat tire like miles down. I've gotten a flat without a spare tube or something. I've just ridden it, and so they've been good for me. This is a company here in Utah called Salt Cycles. They make their own carbon wheels, and I've been thinking about getting a set from them, actually. They can build up super lightweight carbon wheels, and great company. They stand behind their product, and so I'm probably going to check them out. Let's see here. Yeah, the Ripley's good in the text sections. I'm trying to think of what other things you guys, if you have any other questions about the evil Following that we could talk about. Some of these comments in the chat are just hilarious. I'm not sure if you guys are spending more time in the chat or spending time listening to me, but it's funny. All right, let's see what else is here. Poppy, Poopy. The Ripley, Shred Before Dead says the Ripley is dated. Yeah, it kind of is. And that's why they do now have that Ritmo. The Ritmo is really cool bike. Really, really cool bike. Yeah, and I guess that's another good example. The Ritmo probably climbs real similar to that Evil the Following, I would say. But you just get a way more composed bike, and it's still, man, that DW Link is a fun bike to ride. Yeah, that's a great example of what I'm talking about. Is like, if you're gonna look at the Evil the Following, you almost need to look at like the Ritmo. I know that sounds kind of weird, kind of crazy to hear, but I mean, if you look at other bikes with 120 mil suspension, you know, well, that's not true. Another one that we haven't talked about tonight is the Yeti SB 4.5. That bike climbs really, really well, better than the Evil Following, in my opinion. and it's still just as composed and a lot of fun. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 friends who ride the 4 or 5 and absolutely hammer on them like crazy. Hey, Flying Tiger, you showed up, my man. Good to have you. It's been a while. Rosella says he's hoping I get a chance to review the 2018 Canyon Spectral. It's super hard to get a hold of Canyon bikes here in the States. They were at Outer Bike last fall. I didn't ride them. I was planning on riding them this spring at Outer Bike, but they didn't show up. It was weird. YT and Canyon just weren't in Outer Bike, and they were in the fall, just months before. So what do you do? Brandon Perez says, I smell a Yum Yum Poppy t-shirt. Hey, someone make a Yum Yum t-shirt and send it to me. I need to get on board with that. T-shirts and a logo and stickers and all that stuff that all the other YouTubers do. I'm letting everyone down. I'm sorry. I haven't had time to do it, or I guess the interest to do it. I don't know. Is there interest for T-shirts and for stickers? And what are they going to say? They're going to say Yum Yum on a T-shirt? I wouldn't wear a T-shirt that says Yum Yum on it. At least I don't think I would. I don't even know why I named the channel MTB Yumyum. It's the dumbest name. Any interest in reviewing components and wheels, etc.? No, they're so... I mean, I don't care what components I ride. I don't care if it's XTXTR or if it's GX X01 Eagle. I don't really care what my bike has. My last bike that I just sold was a Rocky Mountain Element. It had XTR and XT. I thought it was great. I thought it was better than great. I thought it was awesome. And both my bikes that I have right now have XX1 and X01 on the 2 mountain bikes I have right now. And those are great too. So I'm not super picky about that stuff. So I probably won't do any like actual reviews of components. I am pickier about brakes though, actually. The Guide R brakes that came on my Rocky Mountain Instinct, no bueno. I don't like those those brakes. I've got like 150 miles on it, and I pull the lever all the way to they should need to be rebled probably and put some new brake pads in, but I didn't have a problem with my XTs or my RSCs, and I love the Saint brakes that come on my Ibis HD4. Man, those Saints are, man, so powerful. They're really cool. Oh, I just read a comment about someone asked me about the following and the Santa Cruz Tallboy. Where'd that go? There we go. How did the following and the Tallboy compare? I'm glad someone brought that up. Thank you, George. I'm glad you brought that up because the Tallboy is really similar, 120 and 120 in the front, 110 in the back, so a little bit smaller travel. But man, that's such a fun bike. I love the Tallboy. The Tallboy has good geometry for the type of bike that it is. I guess what I'm saying is the Tallboy on paper, when you go pick up the Tallboy and demo it, it's what you expect it to be. 110 in the rear, 120 up front. It climbs well. It's fun. It's zippy everywhere. I rode it back to back with my 5010. It was like kept up with my 5010 just fine and was still a lot of fun. And I guess that's what I'm saying about this evil following. On paper, it looks like a certain type of bike, but when you pick it up and demo it and go ride it, it's a much different bike. Maybe I looked at the numbers wrong. I'm not sure. Maybe I just went into it with the wrong expectations, but it feels like a much bigger bike than what it is. And the Tallboy, it was exactly what you thought it was going to be. It's a really zippy, quick bike, and it weighs like 26.5 pounds or 27 pounds, I think, in the X01 build. Maybe 27 pounds, I can't remember. But it was kind of what I was expecting. Anyway. Let's see here. Colton Hawks is bringing it up again, asking me to talk about the components more. I don't talk about the components very much on the bike that I'm riding because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if I'm riding the GX build or the XX1 build, the $4,500 build or the $10,000 build. And the reason why I say that is because, let's say the $10,000 build has carbon wheels. Well, I don't want to talk about the carbon wheels that come on that bike because someone might be looking at the $5,000 build that has an aluminum wheel. Or maybe you're just going to do what I do and you'll buy the $5,000-$6,000 bike and then upgrade your carbon wheels to some aftermarket brand or something, you know? So that's why I don't talk too much specifically about the build. Now, if it has like a grip 3 dampener or like a rhythm fork or the, it doesn't have the Fit 4 fork or the factory fork, maybe I'll mention that while I'm riding because you can feel a little bit of difference maybe, although I thought the Fit grip dampener in that shock was awesome. But that's why I don't talk too much about it, is because a lot of guys might not be buying the XX1 build or the GX build. And it doesn't really speak to the characteristics of the bike because you can change any of that stuff. I want to talk about the geometry, just kind of the feel of the bike, the suspension of the bike, kind of the impression that it gives you. Hey. So if I should talk more about it, maybe I'll read through the comments here. If the consensus is that I should talk more about the comments, maybe I'll start doing that. But it hasn't been of interest to me really up to this point. Go. I can't say this guy's name. He asked me about the Reckoning in the following. See, the Reckoning is a bike from Eble I can get behind. That's the type of bike. It's a big old beefy bike. You know it's going to be heavy. You know it's just going to smash everything in the trail. And you get on the bike and it does all that. And it's incredible. I loved the Reckoning. I thought it was an awesome bike for going out and just, that bike can do anything and just smash everything in sight. And so I guess the Reckoning was what I expected it to be. And that's why I liked it so much. And it's not that I don't like the following. It's just, if I was looking for a 120 mil travel bike, that's not the bike I'd buy. Whereas if I was looking for a really big 29er, I would probably consider the Reckoning, honestly. I thought it was rad. Anyway, that's actually a great question that someone asked there because it speaks volumes about how I feel about the Reckoning being exactly what I thought it would be, and then the following kind of not being what I'd hoped it would be, sort of. Derek Smith says, do you have a running list of bikes you've ridden, published and updated after releasing a video on YouTube? No, I don't. Anyone can go watch any video of any bike I've ridden. Just if you go look through my channel, I've ridden a lot of bikes. So, just go search through there. I don't have a way to make it like a paid option somewhere to go ride, go watch the video. Anyone can go watch it for free. But Derek Smith, if you have a way to monetize my channel and make me lots of money, send me an email. I would love for this channel to make money somehow. All right. Okay, Steve Vineyard says, I think the Evil design is interesting, but mechanic guys speak to the creaking and lower tolerances. Any truth to that? That's part of the problem with the videos that I do, is I usually only get 1 or 2 test rides on these bikes before I actually make the video. What I'm trying to do, in fact, this is a little bit of a segue into something I wanted to talk to you guys more about, is the goal for me on this channel, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I want to move away from doing these kind of one test ride video reviews. What I'd really like to do, let me move this camera in a little bit more. What I would really like to do is to figure out a way to get these bikes for a week or two, ideally 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I could put 100 miles on a bike. And then I would be able to give a more comprehensive, in-depth review, a better video. I'd be able to talk more about the components and the wheels and the brakes and any funny things like, you know, for example, my HD4 runs the rear brake cable. Is it the derailleur cable? It's either the derailleur cable or the brake cable. I have to go look at my bike. It runs it down the down tube, which is not uncommon. Santa Cruz does the same thing. But if this is the bottom of the down tube, Ibis runs it down right here, whereas Santa Cruz runs it just along this side right here. I think that's a thoughtful thing Santa Cruz did to run that cable down along that side. Well, you know, I didn't mention that on my HD4 video after my first test ride. I just didn't have enough time with the bike to be thoughtful and mention something like that. Or maybe I just didn't stumble across it. But, you know, I like that Santa Cruz runs the cable along the outside on the side instead of underneath. It's not a big deal, but it's something. So I can speak to more of the unique things of each bike if I have these bikes for 2 weeks. I could put 100 miles on it, ride the crap out of it, tinker around with it at my house, mess with, you know, riding it at 22% sag versus 30% sag or 25, and kind of settle in where I really think it's good. I think there would be a lot of value to videos like that. I would feel better about posting videos like that. So that's kind of the direction I'm hoping to see this channel go. Figuring out a way to either get manufacturers or local bike shops to give me bikes. So I'm getting the Yeti SB100 either at the end of this week or the first part of next week, and I'll have it for like 2 weeks. And man, I think I'll be able to do a really good video because I have it for that amount of time to put 100 miles on it. All right, let's get back in the chat here. How's everyone doing? We doing okay? We're getting boring here? As soon as it gets boring, someone just tell me and we can cut the whole thing off. I can hang out with Marcy. Sorry, just reading up on the chat here. All right, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. Yeah, so what are your guys' thoughts on that? You know, kind of doing a longer 100-mile type review or whatever. I'm stoked on it. I think that's the best value I could add. More in-depth, Andreas says more in-depth reviews would be awesome. I think often the initial ride quality is always going to be great, but when you start to notice those exact differences, we could get more information. Exactly. That's exactly right. For what's worth, low tolerance. Okay. Okay, cool. I think most people would really like this. Looks like there's a bunch of comments on here too. People want me to talk more about the tires and components and stuff. Yeah, I could do that, you know. I could for sure do that. Yeah, so Colt Hawkins says, good to hear about the grip dampener being on par with the Fit 4. I think it's a little heavier. That fork's a little heavier, but yeah, I think that grip dampener's really good. In fact, the new Fox fork that just came out is a Grip 2 dampener, so it's kind of I think a similar type fork. Let's see here. I don't know if you guys follow me on Strava or on Instagram, but I'm going to start doing more on Instagram stories. Unless you don't like them, then I won't do them. But I did a story today on my ride that I went on today on my Insta stories. And I posted like a ton of like little clips. And I'm not great at Instagram. I didn't even have an Instagram account until, Mars, like 6 months after I started the channel or 9 months after I started the channel. I just never got on Instagram. I just don't have time. I didn't make time for Instagram before doing this. So anyway, hop on Instagram, check out the channel. It's just MTB yumyum. You'll see it if you don't already follow me on Instagram, but it's kind of fun. Okay, someone's saying they'd rather see an in-depth review talking more specifically to the bike, to the frame, than components. And that's kind of how I felt. Yeah, so someone on there saw my ride today. Yeah, so I ended up doing a big ride today on my road bike. I did over 10,000 vertical feet of climbing. I did 2 big canyons that are near my house here. I try to do those kind of epic rides over 10,000 vertical feet by about this time of year. I've built my fitness up strong enough from riding to the point where I can go do those big, 6-hour long rides and do 10,000 feet of climbing. It's super fun. I love it. Okay, cool. I'm glad some of you guys follow me on Instagram. That's fun. Well, let me know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. I'm going to go hop over on that YouTube video real quick and just see if there's anything I missed. Zach Turner, what's up? When I owned my 5010, was there any times that I wished I had more travel? I'm thinking about getting a 5010, and I'm nervous I'll want or need more suspension. To this day, that Santa Cruz 5010 is probably the most fun bike I've ever ridden. I just love that thing. It's like a dual slalom bike. It's just, that's crazy. But yeah, it would get overwhelmed. That DPS shock, 130 mil shock, would get overwhelmed. So if I were going to buy and build a Santa Cruz 5010 today, I would for sure long shock it or get a longer fork. You just buy the bike how it is, and you can just get an extender to bump it up to 140 or 150. I'd probably ride it at 140. And then in the rear, before you even ride that bike, replace the shock. Take the shock off, the DPS shock off, and sell it on eBay or Pink Bike or whatever. And if you've never used it, it'll sell really quick. And I'll give you enough money, plus a little bit of extra, to probably buy a DPX2 is what I would do on that bike. Just because it, on long descents that were like longer than 10 minutes, just like really chattery, rough stuff, that bike would get a little overwhelmed because it's not a very long bike. It's not a super stable bike just naturally. So putting a DPS2 on there, a DPX2 shock on there, would make it run way better, and the shock wouldn't heat up so much and get overwhelmed. Before I sold my 5010, I bumped the fork to 140, and I put a Float X2, even the bigger shock on there, and it was incredible. It kind of lost some of that pop that it had with the DPS on that, but I think the DPX2 would still feel really lively. Yeah, I love that bike, man. Yeah, so if you end up getting the 5010, I think outfitting it like that would be incredible. That would be an incredible one bike to own if you want a 27.5 wheel size. Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about. People think I always hate on 29ers. I don't. I love 29ers. But at 5'8" and 140 pounds, and look at these little arms. Look, there's no muscle there. I don't have any muscles at all. I'm totally weak dad bod. Okay? So, when you're riding a mountain bike, come on guys, this is basic mountain biking. You're going along, this is a motion you kind of do a lot. You always got to pick up your bike and throw it like this. So when you get into a turn, when you pop out, you got to kind of pop your bike up into your, transitioning into your next turn. A 29er just, I think, wears on me a little bit. So, because I'm weak. I'm like a 12-year-old schoolgirl. I need to bulk up or something. I don't know. So that's why I really like riding those 27.5 bikes. Also, when you come out of a turn on a 29er, to get your, if it's a slow speed turn, like not a 180-degree angle turn, but a sharp switchback type turn, it takes a while to get your speed back up on a 29er. You got to do 5 pedal strokes. On a 27.5 bike, almost always it's like 2 quick pedal strokes, bam, back up to speed, going. Just little things like that I like better. No doubt at all, a 29er. If I could only own one bike, it'd be a 29er because it's undeniable the advantage that they have in technical climbing for sure. More open terrain, they just haul. Once you get your speed up on them, they just carry their speed so well. So more towards 27.5 bikes. That's the other thing about my test ride review videos. You guys need to really focus on what you like and what your terrain is and what your riding is. You know, because I do have a small bias towards 27.5 bikes. That's why I don't know if I'll ever own a long travel like 100 and, well, I guess I own a 140 millimeter travel 29er right now, the Instinct, but that bike doesn't feel like 140 mil. It feels less than that. Anyway, I don't know if I'll ever own a really long travel, heavy, burly tires, burly suspension 29er. I just like the 27.5 better for that stuff. I'm going to hop back in the chat here now. Thanks to everyone who's supported the channel through super chats and through liking the channel and in whatever way possible. I really appreciate it. It's been a huge help, and I really appreciate everyone's help on that. Noah says high tower or tall boy. Just depends on your terrain, man. If your terrain's like mine in the videos, it just depends on your terrain. I love both those bikes. Personally, I would go either tall boy or high tower LT and skip the high tower altogether. Of course, Matt's just said go for the high tower. Everyone has their own opinion. I don't know. I would probably not buy the high tower today. I'd probably either say I want a shorter travel bike, tall boy, or just get the LT. The LT is just as good as the high tower basically everywhere, and then better in all the places that it's better. Anyway, let's see. I wasn't scooting closer to the camera when I was talking 29ers. Okay, Mojo 3 versus 5010. That's a conversation worth having. I love the Mojo 3 too. Man, there's so many good bikes. I just need to own more bikes. Of course, I get to ride lots of bikes. It looks like I do need to make a t-shirt that says Poppy on it. Everyone keeps talking about that. The LT's sold out, huh? Wow. I think there's a couple at our local bike shop here. The t-shirt should say Super Poppy. I agree. Shred Before Dead says 29 versus 27.5. It doesn't matter. They're both good now. Totally agree. What would be my recommendation for enduro races in your area? Well, I will be racing an enduro race on the 22nd of May. 22nd? Yeah. A week from tomorrow, a week from Tuesday. It's here in Corner Canyon, which is not gnarly. I wouldn't consider it like enduro, but whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to ride my Instinct. I think it's faster. There's a lot of really pedally sections on the trails that I think they're going to be putting the race course on. And so I think I'll ride the Instinct for sure. I need to replace the brakes on it though. I can't stand those guide R's. Also, I've been thinking about, should I video the race, the enduro here in Corner Canyon? I was thinking about videoing it, but I don't know. Also, I signed up under pro. I don't know why. Just because I thought I'd probably get more laps that way. I'm not going to be on the podium for sure in expert or pro. So I just thought, I'll just sign up under pro. WX says, didn't you just do 10K? Yeah, I did. I need a shake weight. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
A weight shake?
You know, one of those shakes that you're like, a weight, it's a weight that has like the, it moves and you shake it. I do need a shake weight. I can just sit on the couch and do it. That's funny. Okay, let's hop in the, okay, so I should video the race. All right, well, yeah, maybe I'll do that then. That sounds good. Also, should we keep these live streams up? Should we keep the live streams going? Do we like them? Do we not like them? Is it worth it? I sometimes feel like I don't always know what to say the whole time. I just feel like I'm sitting in my house talking to myself like an idiot. So, I mean, we've had about 100 or more than 100 people in here most of the night. It's been pretty fun, I thought. You guys need to give me more topics to talk about in the chat, though, maybe. Or maybe I just need to figure out how to do it better. I don't know. Okay, so we like the live streams. Oh, and while we're talking about like the social aspect of the YouTube channel, you know, if you guys watch Brian BKXC's channel or the Single Track Sampler, they do these rides with a company called Chasing Epic, where they go out to Fruita in Colorado, Grand Junction area, or to Moab or to Crested Butte or these different places, and the subscribers, you guys, come and ride with the YouTube guy, whatever. Is that an interest that you guys have? Would you guys like to do a group ride like that? I'm not sure what the pricing is on it. I think it's kind of expensive. I think it's like $1,000 or $1,200. I have to double check, but is that something that would be interesting to you? And if so, what if we did our own little thing where we met here in Salt Lake and I showed you a bunch of rad trails, and you will not be disappointed in these trails. I'll take you to Park City. We have to do it in the summer, but I'll take you to Park City and ride some of the jankiest, gnarly, that they used to be Enduro World Series racetracks. Actually, there's one called NCS that used to be a downhill racetrack, World Series downhill, and we can go do that stuff, hit a bunch of jump lines that I can show you that are really fun. If you haven't seen my YouTube video called Tsunami or Riding with Joey Foresta, something like that, you can see some of the stuff in there. If you have an interest in that, come out here. We can also do Corner Canyon, which is a little bit more tame, but there's enough good stuff around here to, I think, show you guys around for probably a 3 or 4 day weekend. Let me just follow up on these comments. What's my wife chopping up in the background? I'll show you. This is what Marcy's working on right now. I'm sure you guys have a ton of interest in this. She's chopping up, she's doing our meal prep for the week. So she's doing the salmon, she's doing all the asparagus. That's what we're doing. We're getting all the meal prep going, you know? You got to eat healthy if you want to stay 140 pounds. Those are the flowers the kids got Marcy for Mother's Day. Isn't that cute? All right, let's get back on topic here. Yeah, she's doing salmon and asparagus and a bunch of other veggies for the week. You got to eat healthy. Otherwise, you're going to, although I don't eat that healthy. Not for lunch anyway. When I come home, I eat healthy. During the day at lunch, not very healthy at all. I eat like, oh geez. Looks like Marcy bought Oreos too. So yeah, we try to do a good job. We can do a lot better. Okay, I want to talk more about the Chasing Epic thing though, or at least doing like a local thing here. Let's get that camera a little closer. So if you have interest in either Chasing Epic or doing some ride with me and going riding somewhere, I'd love to hear about it. Okay, so Pat O'Connor says he would come ride. Cool. Josh says he would do a meetup. I do the Salt Lake City thing. Okay, cool. Shooter TG, you would not die on Jacob's Ladder. I promise you, you would be just fine. Yeah, I guess that's another thing we'd have to figure out is like a skill level thing and kind of adjust the trip to accommodate maybe multiple different skill levels. Maybe on day one, we'd figure out an A group and a B group, although I don't know. I don't know how you do that. Maybe I'll talk to Steve at Chasing Epic. He's reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do a Chasing Epic tour and invite my friends here on my channel. And I just didn't know if I'd be able to get enough people to come. I think you have to get like 10 people. And I'm like, I don't know if 10 people would want to come ride with me. I have no clue. Mike Madison says I'm down to ride. Fastest moderators in the live stream. It sounds like maybe we have a problem child in the live stream, in the chat. Sorry. Tim says do your own. It'd be fun. Bart'll do. That's a good YouTube channel, actually. Yeah, we could go ride Levitate. I'm not going to Outer Bike in Crested Butte. It'd be fun, but I'm not going to be able to do it. I'll be up there in September. I want to ride with you. I've ridden Park City. It's amazing. Want to try Corner Canyon. Yeah, if anyone's ever in town in Utah, hit me up on Instagram. Don't send me emails. People who send me emails, it takes me forever to get back to you. If you have something quick to ask me, just do it in Instagram. Send me an Instagram message and I'll get back to you. All right, so looks like we probably have some interest. A YouTube rock star race, Yum versus BKXC versus single track sampler. That'd be awesome. You could make it like your team, and that'd be cool. All right. Okay, now I'm just barely getting down into the chat about the comments about the food. Yeah, Marcy does a good job of making good food around here. Okay, so maybe I'll do my own ride. I'd have to get bikes for everyone, so you don't have to bring your bike in. I'd have to get a van to pick everybody up from the airport and like a house for the weekend or something. I don't know. We can figure something out. Okay, it looks like there's some interest in this. We can meet in Fruita. It'd be fun to go do some really cool trails down in Fruita and Grand Junction. How far is Corner Canyon from Salt Lake City? So where I live, which is right next to Corner Canyon, is about a half an hour from Salt Lake City International Airport. I'm about 25 minutes from downtown Salt Lake. It takes about a half an hour to get to the airport, right? 25 minutes, half hour?
Yeah.
We could just pitch a bunch of tents in my backyard. Everyone can stay at my house. No, we're not doing that. All right, well, maybe we'll figure something out. And Salt Lake City is an easy flight. Salt Lake City is a huge airport. It's a huge hub connecting the east and the west coasts of the United States. So Salt Lake City, from basically anywhere in the country, is a really easy flight. So maybe we do this. 10 people. We could do it for 10 people. Mars, we could get a house. We could rent a house, like a VRBO, for like a weekend, for like 3 or 4 days, and we could just split the cost. Or maybe I just pay for it and everyone just pays me a fixed amount, or we'll figure something out like that. That's basically what Chasing Epic does. And then people who can't get their own bikes, I'll get the local bike shop to spot us some bikes, and then I'll just get a big van and drive us around. I'll get a big 12-passenger van, or we could get Sly Fox to to do our shuttles for us or whatever. Hey, this would be cool. It sounds like people have some interest. I'm not doing a campground, Tim. Sorry, man. I don't want to be riding around all sweaty in a chamois all day and then go back to a campfire in a tent. No thanks. Okay, I think we have enough interest that maybe I start kind of getting the wheels churning. We'd have to do it in like July or August. And then skill level. That's the only other thing that I get a little hesitant about. Oh yeah, and the food. We can figure out the food. That'd be easy. Food would be super easy. Skill level would be the hard part. Because to do the rides that I'd want to do in Park City, I'd want to do the Wasatch Crest Trail, a couple of the rides in Park City like Fire Swamp and NCS. Then we can come down here to Corner Canyon and ride too. You won't be disappointed in Corner Canyon. It's a little bit more mild, but it's still a lot of fun. But you'd have to be a decent rider, you know, and you'd have to have some climbing legs on you too to get a lot of climbing done. So I don't know how you sort out. I wonder what Chasing Epic does to kind of filter people who are good enough riders for the trails, because you don't want someone getting hurt or being hung up all day. I don't know. We figure something out. Start a spring and fall ride. Sub it out to a company. You just need to do the entertainment. Yeah. Yeah, this could work. Jake's Squash, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. That is so nice. I really appreciate it. How far are your trails from Springdale and Virgin? Great channel, by the way. So Virgin, if you guys have YouTube Virgin at all, it has got some crazy riding, like really heavy riding. So from Virgin, I'm probably about 4 hours away. 3.5, well, yeah, probably about 4 hours from Virgin. Jake, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that, my man. That's a huge help for the channel. Yeah, probably wouldn't make it down to Virgin. We'd have to do like our own like St. George trip and then hit up a bunch of trails down in that area. Am I going to be at the Bingham Bike Demo this weekend? No. Not that I'm aware of. No. Colt Hawkins says, how much does it cost to have your brother edit a video? I pay him $50 a video. And he doesn't have time to do it anymore. Like, you know, he just won't do it. So Colton, I don't know if you live here, but I need someone to help out. Kelty's helping me on this last video. He did the Evil the Calling video. And I raised enough money in the super chat to give him $35. And he was stoked on that, you know. So it looks like I'm going to be paying him between $30 and $50 a video to edit. And I'm going to try to do some more edits myself too. But yeah, for those of you who don't have YouTube channels, you don't make a lot of money on YouTube AdSense. So all of this content, you know, it takes up a lot of time and you don't make a whole lot of money. I don't do it for the money. Maybe some YouTubers, like bigger YouTubers, probably make enough money to justify it being like their job or whatever. But I've got, that doesn't work for me. I don't know how I would ever get this monetized in a meaningful way to where it's like paying for stuff, you know. My wife's giving me the signal to wrap it up. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we brought this up. It looks like we've got a lot of interest on a group ride. Dude, this would be cool. I'm going to spend some time on this over the next week or two and figure out how, for people who want to come out, how they can come out. Ritmo or the SB55. That'll be the last comment we kind of talk about before I need to wrap it up here. So Jason says Ritmo or SB55. The SB55, I know they have about the same amount of rear travel on those two bikes. There's something about the SB55, it just makes it feel big and really composed. It just straight line plow stuff. But I know people who've got them built up, an SB 5.5. I know Chris, the guy who owns Salt Cycles, right there. He's got his SB 5.5 built up at like 27 or 27 and a half pounds, and it's a big bike. So between the Ritmo and the SB55, I'd go Ritmo. That bike is so cool. I really like that bike. But if you can find one, they're back ordered to like end of June right now. I mean, that's a hard bike to get your hands on. Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to demo that Ritmo, try it. It's a different experience. It's neat. July and August. Yeah, if we did this trip, it'd probably be in July or August, I think. Jason, you ride with MTB Enthusiasts of Utah, right? Maybe he could help with the group ride. That dude builds some killer bikes. Yeah, I ride with Landon Bogard a lot. You know, probably 2 or 3 times a week. I ride like 4 or 5 times a week, and I ride with him like half the time. He could totally help with like the group thing. I don't know if he'd have the time to do it or the interest to do it. I'm not sure. And he does build some killer dream bikes, like really nice. He's riding a Ritmo right now too. Yeah, if you ever come to Utah and you want information, go to a Facebook page called, I don't know if you're on Facebook or not, but go to a Facebook page called MTB Enthusiasts of Utah. It has got years of content for you to read on about anything and all things Utah. Another good website, but it's getting a little older, it's a little outdated, is utahmountainbiking.com. A buddy of mine, Mike, owns that, but he hasn't had the time to keep up on it. But you know, it had a lot of good information. But MTB Enthusiasts of Utah has a lot of good content on that Facebook page. All right, I think I got to wrap it up. I want to thank Bill W., who was our moderator tonight. I didn't see any negative posts. Bill, it looks like you did an awesome job of keeping things civil and good. So we really appreciate you. Thank you to the 2 or 3 people who helped out with super chats tonight. That goes a long way, guys. That's how I pay to get these videos edited, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. It's a real help. And then thanks for coming along and hanging out with me tonight. It was fun tonight. It takes me a little bit of time to loosen up a little bit because I'm just sitting in my house talking to myself. But I feel like I got loosened up after a little bit tonight, and man, it was a lot of fun. John says I still got a full glass of soda. I got half a glass of soda, man. All right, I'm gonna look into this whole chasing epic knockoff thing, or maybe we just do the chasing epic thing if I can get enough guys. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. That's where you'll get more recent updates, and I'm going to try to put more time into that. And then follow me on Strava too. If you're interested in what I'm riding, the first place I post on social media is Strava, because after I get done riding the bike, so like on Thursday I'll be riding the Pivot Mach 5.5, and it will be posted to my Strava right then. So that's a great place to get information quickly. Anyway, if you didn't hit the like button, hit it so people will find this video quicker. And yeah, that's it. I liked the Evil following. It was a cool bike. Probably not one I would buy. It's too heavy. And I think there's better options in the 120 mil kind of, range, 29ers. But if you own one, I thought it was a cool bike. I have no problem riding that bike every day. It's just not my cup of tea. All I'm going to go back and read through all these comments in the chat just because I don't get a chance to see them all. Shred Before Dead says executive producer has given him the signal to wrap it up. Keep her happy. That's right. We went over an hour. I'm supposed to keep it under an hour. Anyway, thanks, guys. It's a great time to be a mountain biker. So many good options out there. I mean, there's never been a better time. I mean, when I was a kid riding bikes with V brakes and crappy suspension, and I had to drop my post down on the descent and then put it back up on the climb and just getting flat tires all the time. I mean, it's the best. So whether your budget's $2,000 or $10,000, just get a bike, go out there and ride. I love Josh's YouTube channel. It's the Daily, what's it called? Daily Mountain Bike Rider. I want to plug his channel real quick because he's got so much enthusiasm for mountain biking, and I love the name, Daily MTB Rider, Josh. I love his little slogan, ride your mountain bike every day. Ride your bike every day. I love it. Get fit, clear your mind. On my ride today, I went and did 10,000 vertical feet of climbing. That's a lot of climbing for a guy who's a dad. And, I usually ride my bike about 8 hours a week or so. And I spent about 5.5 of it just today. Just climbing. And man, it's so healthy for you. Just clear your mind, and the fitness level is so good. I could go on and on about this. I'll stop. But anyway, get out and ride your bike. Thanks, guys. We'll see you. Sure you want to stop? Yep. How's that?